who's doing work to support refugees, our minds often jump to the US, or countries like the US. However, this relationship between refugees in Western countries is not as straightforward as many humanitarian groups make it out to be. The US in particular presents itself as a nation of immigrants. This narrative produces expectations for refugees to pick themselves up from their bootstraps. These ideas become a problem for refugees resettling in the US, when refugee aid is based on the expectation that refugees should immediately adjust culturally and begin working. Often, monetary aid is limited to the first months, and services to aid for cultural differences and mental health services are sometimes even more limited. Beyond its borders, the US plays a pretty significant role in refugee work abroad through NGOs and other humanitarian groups. One of these roles that is most often forgotten is its role in displacing people. Over the past century, the US has contributed to warfare that has resulted in the forced movement of individuals from their homes, either for safety or because the land has become unlivable. However, the people who decide what and how to give are rarely refugees themselves and are instead political actors. This raises questions of who should be held accountable for this displacement and what does accountability look like? This often results in the aid being unfit for the refugees that the organizations are trying to serve.
It seems that they are not considering to the problems that's happening to us, these refugees. And the allegations themselves, when they come, they will not ask about the food, but they are asking about education, something else.
In this way, aid is political. Which refugees can resettle in the US, countries involved in welfare, and how the US chooses to aid the refugee population are all political decisions. Professors Gil Loescher and John Scanlon argue that aid often becomes finding the balance between acting in support of the state's best interest and human rights. This is not to say that all humanitarian and resettlement work is wrong. Aid and support is necessary. However, it is important to have refugees' voices heard when making decisions about what kind of aid will be given and for how long. And when you are trying to decide what NGO you would like to volunteer with or donate to, consider, how will my support be used? Who decided this? Whose best interest does it really serve?